Postgame Live, presented by Geico and your Washington area GMC dealers.
With 3 games to go in the remainder of the 2020 NFL regular season, we have a first-place team in the NFC East, and it's your Washington football team. Cam Curl, with the second defensive touchdown of the day, gives the Burgundy and Gold 4 wins in a row. The rookie stepping up, but it was a team effort out in Glendale, Arizona, as Washington hands Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers a 23-15 loss. We're here to break it all down as we welcome you into Washington Football Postgame Live, presented by Geico and your Washington area GMC dealer. I'm Jordan Giorgio, joined now by Brian Mitchell, Trevor Matich, and Lorenzo Alexander. JP Finley will join us in just a few moments. Guys, a lot to unwrap here. Before we dive into specifics, like the big story of the day, the quarterback change, let's go ahead and scratch the surface with our opening thoughts from this one, B. Mitch.
Well, I think the defense played outstanding. You know, I think one thing about this team, we look at it a lot and we start saying things, but when we see that the offense has to help them, the 49ers were able to creep back into this game because the offense couldn't do anything, and special teams with the early missed field goal. This defense was outstanding, and for those people out there that want to say anything about Chase Young, swallow it, shut up, and never talk again.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Trevor, your initial takeaways?
Yeah, well, whoever was saying anything bad about Chase Young has been in a closet with a bag over their head for a while. And I think that this defense, like you said, though, Brian, was phenomenal. They scored 17 points, basically. Scoop and score on a fumble, 76-yard, pick 6, and they got a fumble recovery deep in 49ers territory that led to a quick field goal. So this defense won the game, and the offense did contribute, but they didn't contribute by moving the ball and scoring points. They contributed by not making the big mistake. That was the complementary football that was needed today, and both sides found a way to do what they had to do.
Lorenzo, are you like me, wishing and hoping we have those screenshots of those negative Chase Young comments?
Yeah, I know that. People are crazy if they've ever talked bad about Chase Young. He's a young player that's obviously finding his way, and one of the great things that I really love about him is that he's continue to excel even on the back end as a young player. Most guys hit that rookie wall and kind of fade, but he's getting stronger as the season goes on. But overall, obviously, this defense came out, was very dominant from start to finish, very physical up front. If you ever want to be the 49ers football team, you have to hit them in the mouth and be dominant the whole game. So I'm really liking the way Ron Rivera's mentality and coaches really taking over this football team. And I think this is the type of game they lose early in the year, and they're really starting to find ways to win.
Well, guys, we have so much to get to here on Postgame Live. Let's go ahead and welcome to the show Team Insider JP Finley. He's brought to us courtesy of Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. A lot to unpack here, JP. Take us through your initial takeaways.
Well, Jordan, I'm trying to do some deductive logic in my head, and they say good football teams win games when they don't have their best on the field. And we just saw Washington go win a game when they didn't have their best, particularly offensively. No Antonio Gibson. Alex Smith, when he was on the field, didn't look right. Then you have Dwayne Haskins out there in a relief role that didn't look great. But Washington went out and they won that game without their best stuff. So the logic would tell me Washington's a good team. They've now won 4 straight. They're in sole possession of first place in the NFC East, and there's not a game remaining on the schedule they can't win. If they get a similar defensive effort to what they had today, next week against Seattle, it's going to be a ball game. And obviously the big, huge, tremendously large question mark is what's going on with Alex Smith's right calf. And is it at all related to the terrible injury we saw him undergo 2 seasons ago? And what's his future? Because I don't think this team can pull off this same formula without Alex, because I think Nick Mullins for San Francisco was really bad, and that helped the defense get into their flow as well.
Let's go ahead and dissect it all, but first and foremost, today's injury report is brought to you by Chasen Biscolo Personal Injury Lawyers. Alex Smith left the game, as you mentioned, JP, early before halftime with a calf injury. A scary moment. We saw him, though, testing his leg, B. Mitch, on the sideline. He didn't really seem bothered by it, just listening to the calls in his ear, but unfortunately, he did not return to the game.
Yeah, he didn't return to the game, and I've been trying. I was looking to see when it happened, because all of a sudden we see him working on the sideline. They said it was just tightness and soreness, but then when you don't bring him back into the game, you start worried about it a little bit, because could there be something that will linger on? The whole thing about it, like JP stated, he wasn't playing well early on. They didn't seem to be in sync offensively. But to go forward, and I know these teams that we're seeing are not better than the Steelers were, but they're going to have a much better offensive output down the stretch to make sure they get the victories that they need.
But, Mitch, how concerned were you with his plan and how he's been playing in the first half when we know this team is a second-half team?
Well, the thing about it, listen, I have a football mindset. You know, next man up. If Alex was going down, then Dwayne has to come in and play well. And I think other people around him has to play well. But, you know, when you see him just walking around as if it's no big issue, you kind of step back and don't say it's something serious from that. And we know it's the leg that he had the injury on, but still, anything could possibly happen. And my whole gripe was the fact that he has that apparatus on his leg that's supposed to help protect him. If something still happened, that's why I'm wondering, could this be something that will linger on?
It definitely could be. Lorenzo, what's your confidence level? Where's your concern there with Alex Smith and this injury?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, I've suffered something not obviously on the level of Alex Smith, but I've been injured where I tore my legs frank. And for me, that next season, if I sat too long or something didn't feel right leading up in the game, especially later on, it took much more time for it to warm up or to loosen up. And if it ever got tight, it was almost impossible for me to get it re-loosened. So this might have been something that he went into the game with, because you can see him struggling trying to push the ball down the field, and he just never could get it re-loosened. So that doesn't mean that it's going to continue to linger. He's just going to have to make sure that he comes up with some type of protocol to make sure that he's just activated and feels really good when he gets out there and he's really loosened. So that's something they're probably going to have to continue to play with, because obviously this is his first time having to play at this level, dealing with this injury that is still a part of who he is as a football player, and still trying to overcome some of the back ends of the things that he's trying to still heal from.
Trevor, are you as concerned as Lorenzo?
Soft tissue injury that seems to be something that can be managed. I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, we're not doctors, so we don't know. I agree with Lorenzo. We've all had that kind of injury that kind of locks up and it kind of won't go away. It just grinds on you. The thing I'm most interested in every time I see Alex get hit is the integrity of the structure of the titanium rod and the bone that is connected to. As long as there's not a problem there, anything else is small potatoes. It's okay. And so the fact that he couldn't go back in, I don't know why, but the fact that he was standing on the sideline while Dwayne Haskins was in tells me that it wasn't something serious with the worst of that injury, the structure of that lower leg. And that to me is a blessing beyond belief.
JP, did you see something differently than these guys?
No, I agree. I think that he was walking around and up and down on the sideline is a really good sign. I mean, I almost wonder, you know, when he came out, Washington had a fairly commanding lead. They had a 2-score lead. Even late there, they were up 8. I wonder what would have happened if it was a tight game, if they started to lose, or just if the game flow had gone different and maybe Alex had to get back out there. Ron Rivera is going to talk in a few minutes. Ron isn't very forthcoming with injury news, but I think he'll at least provide some level of update, because it's the quarterback and he knows he's just going to get peppered with questions about it unless there's some information there. Another thing to consider, and this could be nothing, but it could be something, is normally a West Coast trip for an East Coast team is a 2-night trip. Normally you go out Friday and then you leave Sunday after the game. But because of COVID and because of the heightened COVID protocols across the NFL, Washington flew out to Arizona yesterday. That's about a 5.5 hour flight. You got to play a football game about 24 hours later. Could be nothing, but you never know. That could add to tightness or swelling or something happening to the body as well.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Coach Ron Rivera in just a little bit. And before we get to the main star of this game, which is the defense, after Alex Smith went out of the game, Dwayne Haskins came in for the first time since being benched after the team went 1-3. Mitch, how do you think he looked out there today?
Well, he started off on point. I think then he got back to some of the things that was a problem before, being inaccurate, throwing the ball a little high. But the whole thing of it is, you know, I can understand coming out. He was a little, he hadn't played in a long time. But, you know, as soon as he came to the game, he hit him. And I think I can see something in his psyche where he's not the same person he was before. He seems to be a guy who's paying a lot closer attention. If you watch him on the sideline, the camera catch him right there communicating with Alex and his teammates. So I just say this, if something is serious with Alex, get ready to play, because you only have a few times in this league to prove that you can get it done or not get it done.
Trevor, was there an area of improvement that you saw from Haskins, from him today versus when he was benched after week 4?
Yeah. Pretty much everything, Jordan. I thought he did a fantastic job, with the exception of that high throw that Brian referenced. That one was almost an interception. That could have been horrible. But for the rest of it, I thought he did a great job. He was decisive. When the receiver was open, he hit him fast. And when he didn't like what he saw, he threw it away. And in doing that, he did, I think, what was a step forward in his maturity as a quarterback in the NFL. He knew that the defense was going to win this game as long as the offense didn't lose it. And there were times when he threw the ball into a safe area. It wasn't complete, but it wasn't that big disaster that would have given the ball to the other team, which would have helped the defense, well, hurt the defense and made the offense lose the game. There was a time on the goal line where he threw the ball under pressure, kind of in the middle, down low into the dirt. Was that inaccurate? I don't think so. I think he wanted to throw it away into a safe spot. There was another throw a little bit later on the right sideline on an out route that he threw the ball kind of low and outside, and the receiver got his hands on it but couldn't quite haul it in. Was that bad? No, I thought that was great. It being low like that and outside, if the receiver was going to tip it, it would tip down into the ground, not up into the air where it could be intercepted and maybe run back for a pick six on the sideline. These are decisions that Dwayne Haskins made to put the ball in a safe spot. Why? Because the nature of the game that he was playing was one that the defense would win it as long as the offense didn't lose it for them. And I thought Haskins, for the most part, played into that concept.
It was great to see him show that improvement. Guys, we got to move to this defense. Chase Young, an absolute unit for this team. Lorenzo, he wanted to go out there and win this game himself.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much did. I mean, he's the bell cow of this defense. I mean, everybody's following him. You know, bell cow leads the group, and everybody follows around him, and that's what he's done. From start to finish out there, getting sacks, strip fumbles, taking balls back to the house. He's really been energizing this team as a young player. And so it's just really great to watch. I mean, even times when he gets beat in his blocks and he gets backside, he's still so efficient and so fast that he can still run down the line of scrimmage and make big-time plays. And then you see guys on the back end, Pierre Lewis setting the tempo, blowing up U-check and then getting the sack. This defense really took it to the 49ers from start to finish. Back end played really well. And then obviously when Mullins, you know, gave him opportunities, pick six to the house, and they really just led this entire team all day, and that's why they end up winning this game.
JP, in just the first half, he had 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. Imagine calling him a bust.
It's absurd. It's absurd. It was premature. It was dumb. And it's over. I can't imagine anybody still going to make that argument. I'll say this, though. Obviously, Chase is just a freak. He's just such a stud athlete and so smart. Montez, the same thing. But you got to look at some of the coaching points. Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio this week talked about one of the most dangerous parts of going against a Kyle Shanahan offense is you never want to see your defenders running laterally. If they're running laterally, that means they've already missed the play. I think watching this game today, they were very well coached. Think about the recognition in all of those wide receiver bubble tunnel screens. Almost every time one of those was about to happen, it seemed like the Washington D-line knew it was coming and was able to react. And I think that was a huge part, especially early on in causing trouble up front, was just the recognition and the expectation for what Kyle's offense was going to do. So the players deserve a ton of credit, but I think the coaches, the linebackers coaches, all these guys have really drilled into the heads of the Washington defense to be where they need to be in specific instances.
I'm sure Coach Ron Rivera has some praise to give his defensive unit. Let's hear from him now, you guys.
What happened was Alex developed some tightness and muscle soreness as he was pushing off that right leg. And so as we ended the half, they took him in to get x-rays. The x-rays were fine. There was no issue there. But he had the soreness, and it was tight. And so we decided not to have him go back out there in the second half. We had him there in case of emergency. He stayed on the sideline, stayed loose, and tried to loosen it up. It just stayed tight. He couldn't get it loose. And so, again, we in an abundance of caution, we went with we went ahead and went with Dwayne in the second half.
Ron, Scott Abraham, ABC 7. What can you say about your defense and the performance they had in this game today?
It was pretty exciting. They did a lot of good things. They really stepped up and helped out. They did some really good things. They bowed their necks when they had to. I know there's some issues that Jack's not happy with, but, Jack's expecting an awful lot from those guys, as we all are, and those guys rose to the occasion.
Hey,
Rod.
Rod.
Weeks about how Chase Young was staying patient when he was being double teamed and triple teamed, when he was held sackless. For him to have the performance that he's had now, you've told him to just kind of stay not frustrated, just wait for that moment. One, just what did you say to him after the game, after this performance? And two, what was the his reaction in the locker room that we couldn't see here?
He's fired up. He really is, and quite honestly, I haven't had a chance to talk to him. It's just kind of one of those things. I told you guys, he's one of the young guys that brings a lot of energy. And it's an amazing thing because he's infectious with his teammates. And I think that's the kind of thing that we need from these young guys, is that it really carries a lot of energy into the group. And that's exciting. And he's been great. Just real happy for him because, again, he went through a lot of things in terms of, just trying to get opportunities. He's been doubled a lot. He's been tripled in the past. But he just stayed patient, kept doing his job, and came up big for us today.
Ron, given the situation, was that the performance you would have wanted from Dwayne at that time, given, when he was coming in and how it was going? Was that what you were kind of hoping for from him?
Yeah. Again, he's showing growth, and that's the thing that, we got to look for. And, we'll continue to work it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how Alex is as this week progresses. And, we will prepare accordingly.
Ron, I know Jack always wants to get better, but what you were saying, what do you think the reason is the defense has played maybe a little bit better the last month or so? Is that the linebackers' decisiveness, the defensive line? Kind of what do you attribute that to?
I attribute to a little bit of everything. First and foremost, not having OTAs and minicamp really, I think, played into the development, slow development and growth that we had as a team. And so what's happening is I think you're seeing everything come together. And that's what we've been working towards is this time of year is to have things in the right place. And we're starting to see it.
Hey,
Ron, you've talked about players having kind of that aha moment and learning the new scheme and everything. Did Chase Young, even as a first-round pick, a very effective pass rusher early, did he kind of have that at some point in the season too?
He's starting to have that. You're starting to see him really get more and more comfortable and understand just how important it is to do things within the framework of the defense, because things that these guys do impact the players next to them, and that's one of the big things they have to understand. As they're growing and developing in this defense.
How did the offensive game plan change when Dwayne came in?
It didn't. It's one of those things that we moved the ball, got it down into position. Had an opportunity to make a couple of things happen. Unfortunately, we didn't. But you got to give them credit too. They came out and got after us a couple of times, and thank goodness the defense stepped up. I thought one of the really big things was when we were down the goal line and we got the ball moved out, almost got the first down, but at least it allowed us to punt the ball and put them in a tough position.
This is what they didn't say, brought to you by your Washington area GMC dealer. A lot was said, Trevor. Was there a comment, though, made from Rivera where you can kind of read between the lines?
I think reading between the lines on the quarterback play, he said that they did kind of what they had to do, but the truth of it is quarterback play was not good. He didn't make the big mistake, and that's important, but Alex Smith averaged about 3 yards per pass attempt. 3 yards per pass attempt. That'd be bad if it was 3 per rush attempt. Dwayne averaged about 4.5 yards per pass attempt. But what they didn't do was make the big mistake. So he didn't talk a whole lot about that concept.
B. Mitch, listening to Rivera, where did you hear some coach speak there?
Well, I'm just going to go to the point when he was talking about Chase Young, and he said that he's starting to feel it. No, he's not starting to feel it. He now understands. There's another guy that's over there in Los Angeles that wears number 99. He can disrupt the game from pass rushing to stopping the running game to doing all types of things, Aaron Donald. And I think Chase Young has that capability. But the thing about it, as Lorenzo has stated, this guy is into a game from start to finish. He's on the sideline. He's motivating his teammates. So he has an infectious personality and the way that he plays. When you have your #1 draft pick, your best players, when your big money guys are supposed to go out there and play well. We had him here on the first game. He had on all green. He said he wanted to be like money. Well, if he keeps playing like that, he's going to make a lot of money.
Lorenzo, regarding this defense, staying on this subject, Coach said that there were some things that Jack Del Rio was not going to be happy with. What were those things in your opinion?
maybe some of the third down stuff. I mean, I thought this team played really well from start to finish. I mean, you always want to try to keep a team pinned down. So there at the end, you did see the 49ers able to move the ball and able to score and get back into this game. And so if you want to talk about anything as far as moving forward from a coach's standpoint, it's all about finishing, right? Because we know the 49ers aren't a good team, right? They got all these injuries. They're playing with their second and third string backup guys. And so, yes, it was a great win today, but you want to be able to finish these teams off. And when you have a lead and you're playing a dominant performance and not make teams feel like they got a little bit of life, because in the NFL, you're always one play from losing a game, especially when it's a one-score game. And at the end, it got a little too tight. Then I think Ron Rivera and then obviously the defensive coordinator would expect or have liked.
We didn't hear Coach say much about Dwayne Haskins, but we will hear from Haskins himself at the podium in just a little bit. Plus, our friends from NBC Sports Bay Area, Jeff Garcia and Dante Whitner, will join this show. But first, for more on this one from Glendale, let's go ahead and bring in the Washington Football Talk podcast trio. JP Finley, Pete Haley, and Mitch Tischler join us for a little taste of what's to come on the postgame pod, guys.
Thank you, Jordan. Hello, gentlemen. I don't think Washington played their best, but they went to the desert. They got a big win. They're now in first place in the NFC East. I want to see what stood out to both of you. Let's start with the big man, Mitch. The defensive line finally showed up like they're supposed to and dominated. What was your biggest takeaway?
I mean, I don't know about finally showed up, but boy, did they show up today. I mean, they put that offense on their back. They climbed to the top of Camelback Mountain down there in Phoenix. They stuck the flag, the W flag in the mountain. I mean, it was incredible. This was an all-time defensive performance. You had Chase Young, first player in Washington football team history to have a sack, forced fumble, fumble recovery, and touchdown in a single game. And it was the first game since 1997 that the Washington football team had an INT return for a touchdown and a fumble return for a touchdown. Pete wasn't even alive the last time that happened. How can you not be excited about what this defense is doing?
Mitch going with all stats all the time. Stat bomb. Mitchell, he's also wearing some turquoise or aqua. I'm not really sure what I'd call that color. But you're right. The D-line's been good. They were very, very good today. Peter, what stood out for you, buddy?
If we want to talk outfits real quick, I'm wearing one that my girlfriend who's sitting right behind the camera said is really ugly, so I hope you guys don't agree. But what stood out to me, I know it's the D-line, and I know there's a lot of QB drama, but do not forget about Cam Curl. That pick six was enormous, and the block he got on the sideline to free him up down the sideline really mattered, because who knows if that offense would have been able to score. Who knows how this game would look different. So Cam Curl, a 7th rounder. They got him as an afterthought on day 3. You got Chase Young, Antonio Gibson. These rookies are balling. Do not forget about Cam Curl. Huge pick six. So the defense as a whole really stood out to me. The back end and the front end, everything's working, guys.
Well, and I'll add this about Cam Curl. We talk so much about Chase Young and delivering on his potential, the number 2 overall pick, all the pressure on him. Cam Curl's also a rookie. He's a 7th rounder. He's playing at an elite level. Go check out Brian Baldinger on Twitter, one of the really smart, insightful football minds out there, talking about he's one of the best rookie safeties this season. This is wild. Antonio Gibson was in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. It'll probably go to Justin Herbert, but Antonio Gibson's in that conversation. Chase Young's absolutely in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I would add, maybe Cam Curl gets in that conversation. There is a lot of promise on this young football team. I see so many parallels to the year Marty Schottenheimer came here. They finished 8-8 and look to really have a future. I think there is a future. And that's got to be exciting, Mitchell. How many bad football teams have we covered? How many bad football teams have you covered?
Far, far, far too many. And to be talking playoffs and talking about a team that can actually win a football game in the playoffs is wild and incredible. And every Washington football team fan better enjoy every minute of this.
4-game win streak.
Look, I mean,
things are going so well, Pete, I'm not even going to make fun of your outfit.
And just to add to all this, this team, when they make the playoffs, they rarely do. But when they do, they get scorching hot in December. Things fall in place. They get on these crazy winning streaks. It sure feels like we're about to get our 5th playoff appearance because of a 5th really productive December. I cannot wait to watch it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun podcast tonight. I'm sure you guys will come over. We'll record it. I'm not sure my liver can take any more of these night game finishes with big wins, but we'll at least have one more of them. Thank you, boys. Talk to you soon. Let's go back to Jordan and the fellas on the desk.
Yeah, and JP, I don't think B-Mitch can hang with you guys much longer. Get so much more content from JP
I'm sure he disagrees.
and Mitch Tischler on the Washington Football Talk podcast. Make sure to download and subscribe, and be sure to check out the postgame pod to see who they will award their game balls to. In fact, B-Mitch, Trevor, and Lorenzo will hand out theirs a little later on in this show. And don't forget to check out our new and improved website, NBCSportsWashington.com. Plenty to see, including why former head coach Mike Shanahan believes Alex Smith is the only choice for Comeback Player of the Year. We're not done yet. Back in a moment. Can't get enough of the Washington football team? Don't miss Washington Football Rewind versus the 49ers Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Replay this impressive win with additional commentary from Brian Mitchell, JP Finley, and myself only on NBC Sports Washington. Again, that's Tuesday at 6 p.m. After Alex Smith left the game minutes before the half, Dwayne Haskins took over for Washington, and he is now standing by at the podium to recap his performance.
Yeah, I mean, I had really no idea what was going on. Alex was having some leg trouble, and he had told me to be ready. And then at halftime, he said I was going out there. So, I was just more so excited than anything, and, grateful we got a win.
Dwayne, just in general, what have these last couple of months been like for you? Just kind of working your way back up and then getting playing time again.
It's been a lot. It's been really challenging trying to figure out how to go about things and what's next, and just trying to be my best version of myself every day. And that's what I've just been working on, finding ways to get better outside the facility, staying longer at the facility, trying to prove to these coaches that I want to, be a guy that can be reliable and be someone that can lead this team. So that's what I've been working on since everything has happened.
What specific things do you feel like you've grown in that time and were able to show today?
I was trying to grow in everything. I'm not a finished product by any means, and I'm just trying to be as great as guys that I watch on TV every day. And having somebody like Alex in the room with me is a great example. And he comes to work every day with his hat on, and he grinds, and he never complains. And he's somebody I look up to, and he's been helping me a lot throughout this whole process. And he's been through stuff like this before, so he's been a great person to lean on throughout this time.
Dwayne, this is the first time we've talked to you in a while. What's been the hardest part for you going through this process and this journey?
I don't really want to get into that right now. I'm just thankful to get this win, more so than anything. Tears came to my eyes. I was out leaving the field, just thankful just to be back out on the grass again, because I didn't know when I was going to be on the grass again. And I'm excited. We're first in the division. That's something that we always wanted to work for since the beginning of the season. And, it's right there for us. So I'm glad I was able to help today and help propel us forward.
Here on Postgame Live, Dominion National asked you to submit what makes you smile throughout the game using the hashtag makes you smile. So, Lorenzo, I'll start with you. What made you smile today?
I said it earlier in the show, the physicality of just the entire defense, but really that was highlighted by my man, Pierre Lewis, when he jacked up Kyle Juszczyk and got a sack. Now, I just love when a linebacker's coming down here and can blow a guy up. And so that, to me, epitomized today's defense and how physical they played, and it made me smile.
Trevor, what do you got for me?
Just the overwhelming physical and energy play of the defense. They were like a drone swarm. The 49ers were trying to get something going, and they did from time to time. But it wasn't just a guy made a play, then another guy made a play. They were swarming all over the place. They were going downhill. It was as if at times the 49ers were trying to run plays at the bottom of a hill, going up, and you've got the Washington defense coming down at him the whole time in an unfair situation. That energy was just astonishing to watch.
JP, what about you?
It's remarkable. I don't think we've ever this season or in the last 2 years gone this long into a show without mentioning his name. But how about Terry McLaurin getting his first 1,000-yard season in the NFL? Terry's such a star, and this game offensively was pretty tough to watch, but he's still contributed, and he's such a huge piece of this team. You feel like that's his first 1,000-yard season, but there could be many, many more to come from McLaurin.
B-Mitch, bring us home here.
Well, for me, I look at all the young guys that are making plays. I know in the offseason we did not go out there and find many sexy names in free agency, but you look at all these young guys that came onto this football team and how they're going out there making play after play after play. You know, but Pierre Lewis, as Lorenzo stated, Smith Washington, you know, those guys are the guys that nobody expects to go out there and perform, but you look at the level that they're playing. They're led by a guy who's a superhero. And I'm going to say it, Chase Young is leading all these young guys. And for me, I start thinking about the future because I would like to have a little something to brag about when it comes to this Washington football team. And when you look at the way that all these young guys are playing, that may be for a lot of years to come.
A much-needed win for Washington, but earlier today, you guys in the NFC East, the Cardinals put away the Giants by a score of 26-7. The Cowboys doing the same thing to the Bengals, 30-7 out in Cincinnati. Jalen Hurts in his debut for the Eagles face the #1 seed in the NFC, the New Orleans Saints. He gets it done. How about that final score, 24-21? And also Washington's next opponent, the Seattle Seahawks, did what you would expect against the 0-12 New York Jets. 40-3 is your final score from Seattle. Guys, we have Chase Young standing by for our one-on-one interview brought to you by your Washington area GMC dealer. Chase, thanks so much for joining us. Did Mama Young want some stats for Christmas or what?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. She wanted anything she could get. And she about to get way more than this. So, man, I'm just excited. That's all I can say.
Yeah! Chase, we can hear your teammates sound excited too. How much fun was that out there? With just everything you did, everything you were able to do, getting the sack, returning the fumble, getting in the end zone. How much were you enjoying yourself?
I was definitely enjoying myself, but I think the biggest thing I enjoyed was just playing a real hard, tough game with my teammates. Man, it felt good. We just played as a defense. I had my brothers back, and I knew they had my back. It just felt good, man. I love my teammates, man, and I know they love me, so it's a good one. Yeah.
Chase, the first game after the Eagles, you had on your green suit, you said you wanted to feel like money. Well, do you feel like money today after that performance you put out there?
That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. I got some more for y'all. For sure.
Chase, people will be talking about that fumble, scoop, and score, 47-yard return for a touchdown for a long time around here. What did you see on that play? Walk us through what happened.
Man, so on that play, I guess I got off the ball. Quarterback, he had scrambled to the right. Payne hit the ball out, and it was on the ground. All I heard was ball. Ran to it. JB told me he was about to jump on it, but I thought it was a 49ers player, so I just took it kind of out of his hands. Out of 49ers play, he was on my leg. I knew I couldn't go down. And all I seen was green. I'm thankful that my teammates was there to block for me because after about 15 yards, I was burnt. So, that's why I'm thankful for my team.
Hey, Chase, Lorenzo Alexander here. Most young players this time of year start to fade, hit that rookie wall. What have you been doing physically or mentally to really help you to continue to excel and really take your game to another level? And as B. Mitch said, be like a superhero out there.
Yeah, man, I feel like God, man. God, I pray a lot. I feel like he definitely gives me the strength when I'm out there on the field. And it's just the will, man. Growing up, it's like if I'm looking tired on the field, I never want to look like, like I'm not an elite player. You know what I'm saying? When you look tired on the field, it gives the offense confidence and things like that. So it's really just will, man, will and God.
Hey, Chase, it's JP Finley again. I want to ask you this. You're a rookie. We all know that. But your energy, your spirit is so obviously infectious. What's it like being a leader of a young defense that's out there hunting and you're only a rookie?
Man, the only thing I preach, man, just be a dog. And that's what I try to display. And I feel like, it's not only me. It's Big J.A. in the middle, Big Payne. Cole, he's definitely took that middle linebacker role and really honed into it. Our DBs, And I feel like, our defense, we just getting better every week. And even when we make mistakes, we always playing off each other. So we always come back. So I'm lost for words, man. We just gonna keep playing as a brotherhood. We're gonna keep going.
You deserve it, Chase. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Enjoy this one, okay?
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Mitch, this past Monday, we talked a lot about clarity in the NFC East in this division. As another week passes, we have that clarity as the Washington football team is in first place in the NFC East. 3 games to go, and a lot of that is in due part thanks to the defense and Chase Young.
Well, definitely. I think this defense played, like I said, terrific. And you can see that they've given them an opportunity to win just about every game over these last 6 weeks or so. The defense has gotten better and better and better. And if they can get performances like that, they can beat any team out there. You know, we think about the Ravens when they went to the Super Bowl in 2000. Their offense rarely scored, but they still won football games. And you look at today, they put 17 points, as Trevor stated earlier, on the board in essence. They had 2 touchdowns, and then they gave them the ball right in the red zone, so they got a field goal out of that. If they can go out and perform at this level, and Chase Young keeps playing the way he's playing, I see great things happening for this football team.
Trevor, this division race is officially on.
It is officially on. The Giants lost today. So even though the Giants hold the tiebreaker against Washington, Washington is a game ahead now. They are alone in first place with 3 to go. And the Giants have a more difficult schedule on paper going forward. The Giants have to face 2 teams that are playing for something, whereas Washington only plays 1 team that's playing for something, and that is Seattle. Carolina and the Eagles are pretty much out of it. It doesn't mean they won't play for pride, but it means that the schedule shapes up so that Washington is not just in control of their own destiny on paper. They really are in control of their own destiny.
Guys, Cam Curl is standing by for our one-on-one interview with Cam. It's brought to you by your Washington area GMC dealer. Cam, thanks so much for joining the show. Jordan Giorgio here. Congrats on your 4th straight win. This team has faced a ton of adversity through just 13 games. What do you say about the resilience of this team?
Thank y'all for having me, but I mean, I feel like every week we trust each other more, you know what I'm saying? We get better every week, and we just got to keep that going, you know? It's fun going out there and playing with them, knowing that we trust each other every week more and more.
Hey, Cam, what's going on? Lorenzo Alexander here. I really love the way the defensive backfield is played. You know, you're no longer giving up those big balls down the field. What have you guys done differently? And then what did you see on your pick 6 today, which was a huge play?
I just feel like we're understanding more, like understanding what the offenses want to do more, and we studying more like film and stuff. We just understand all of it more. But on the pick 6, I had my little hot tool assignment, and I was reading the quarterback. I knew he was gonna panic and try to throw it to the flat, and when the ball was in the air, I just seen green grass in front of me.
Hey, Cam, it's JP Finley. When you joined the podcast last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about how you had moments this offseason of wondering if you were even going to make it, that you were a 7th-round rookie and you knew the uphill climb you had. Today, you have a pick 6. I mean, you're really, really coming on well for a team that's in the playoff hunt. How much fun is that, and how hard is it for you to process all of this at the rapid pace that's occurring?
It's kind of hard to process. I really don't want to process it all right now. Like, I'm trying to stay in this little zone, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to sit back and be like, dang, I'm really in this, because I feel like I'll probably get too comfortable, you feel me? So I'm just going week to week, you know, team to team. I'm just going with the flow, trying to get better every week.
Cam, Trevor Matich, you said that you knew the quarterback would panic and throw to the flat on that pick 6. Is that classified, or could you tell us how you knew the quarterback would panic and throw it?
Pick 6. I mean, because I seen him earlier, you know. He panicked and threw it to the flat on a play earlier. So when I seen him holding the ball, patting it, I was just reading him, and he threw it. He threw it to me, you know. I appreciate it.
Cam, this is Brian Mitchell, man. Congratulations on the touchdown and on the big victory here. Actually, this question, there's a lot of young guys making a lot of plays. And I know when I was a rookie, I used to love sitting around the young guys and having those conversations. What kind of conversations are you all having?
Cam? Can you say that again, my father?
I said, what kind of conversation are you and the rest of the young crew, the rookies and the young guys that are making so many plays, having on this football team?
I mean, we just trying to make the plays that come to us. You know, they putting us in opportunity. it's crazy that, you know, the rookies, these many rookies is making plays, but the coaches putting us in position. You know, we knew coming in we had a pretty good rookie class. You know what I'm saying? We showed it in training camp, and we're just trying to keep it rolling, you know? We growing. As rookies, I feel like we're growing every week.
Good.
All right, Cam, I can see some other guys in the hallway there with you. It looks like you guys are going to enjoy this plane ride home. 4 straight wins, first place in the NFC East. How rowdy is that plane about to get? Is everybody ready for this flight?
I don't know. It's a long flight, too. I don't even like long flights, but I'll probably just go to sleep and hopefully wake up and we in Virginia.
Well, you have a lot of time to celebrate then on that plane. Thanks so much for joining us, Cam. We appreciate it. Congrats.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right, the Toyota Road ahead for the Washington football team is a date with Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Next Sunday, 1 p.m. at FedEx Field, the Seahawks are coming off an awful home loss to the Giants, hoping, and they did, take their frustration out on the New York Jets today. Meanwhile, as the NBA season is here, there are some hard choices in life, but choosing Yahoo for fantasy basketball isn't one of them. Yahoo Fantasy Basketball is easy to play. You can start and end your season whenever you want, and it's totally free. So choose the easy way to ball. Play Yahoo Fantasy Basketball, the official fantasy game of the NBA. We're back in a moment.
Sunday Night 7 on the NBC Sports Predictor app is giving away money. Lots of it. Predict what will happen on Sunday Night Football for a chance to win $100 grand. That's right, $100,000 up for grabs every contest, and it's free to play. Just download the NBC Sports Predictor app and you could be the next big winner.
You can play along every week with Sunday Night 7. Make your picks on the NBC Sports Predictor app because there will be a $100,000 jackpot every single week. So make sure to tune in tonight, Football Night in America on NBC, as they get you set for kickoff between the Steelers and Bills. Big game next week for Washington, hosting Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. And NBC Sports Washington is your home for every game day. Before the matchup, tune in to Kickoff Live as we break down every aspect of the upcoming game. We'll be with you this Sunday starting at 10 a.m. So grab your coffee. Then right after the final whistle at FedEx Field, don't miss Postgame Live, where you will get immediate reaction from head coach Ron Rivera and some of the players. Kickoff Live and Postgame Live on Washington football team game days only on NBC Sports Washington and the My Teams app. Well, the Seahawks handed it to the Jets, something you would expect after coming off that horrible loss to the Giants, you guys. But what did you see New York expose, B. Mitch?
Well, I think the whole thing about the Seattle Seahawks is that the offense was back, but you should have a chance to go out there and move the ball against them. Their defense isn't very good. So this week, I think it's vital that Washington's offense go out and have a very good game.
Trevor, Washington has actually won 7 of the last 8 meetings against Seattle. So what do they need to do to make it 8 of 9?
They need to make sure Russell Wilson, the quarterback, doesn't go off, especially to DK Metcalf. Metcalf at wide receiver is a devastating deep threat, averaging about 18 yards per reception. Now, neither one, Wilson or Metcalf, went off against the Jets, but the Washington defense has to make sure they do not go off against them.
It's all about just dominating Russell Wilson in that line, making sure the D-line plays superhuman like they did today, and then get a couple of turnovers, and Washington can win that game.
Washington is going to need Alex Smith and Antonio Gibson back to beat Seattle. They're going to have to put some points up. I think they're going to need those guys on the field.
Next up, our friends from NBC Sports Bay Area, Jeff Garcia, Dante Whitner, and Laura Britt joined the show. What stood out to them most from today's game, and what are their opinions on the Washington football team?
49ers Postgame Live, brought to you by Toyota, is rolling along as the 49ers fall to the Washington football team. Their playoff hopes dwindling just out of their sight. And what do you know? NBC Sports Washington, some familiar faces for us here as we welcome you guys in. Jordan Giorgio, Brian Mitchell, Lorenzo Alexander. Thank you for joining us. I was really looking forward to this segment for like the first quarter of this game, and then that fell off pretty quickly. But Dante, I know you guys got some questions for these fellas.
Yeah, I have a question for B. Mitch. B. Mitch, we talked extensively on Thursday about Chase Young and how the people around Washington were starting to call him a bust. You look like you were correct. What do you have to say to those naysayers now that we're starting to call him that?
Well, I won't say anything to him. I'll just tell him make sure they keep paying attention to Chase Young. You look at the way that young man played today. He basically took over the football game. And I think there's a guy out there in Los Angeles that wears number 99 in Aaron Donald, and I believe he can very much do those same type of things. And what I like about him so much, as Lorenzo stated earlier, that he is still getting stronger as the year goes on. And we all know that young guys normally go out there, and when they hit that wall, things don't work like it used to. Now, Jeff, I'd like to ask you a question. Alex Smith has been playing terrific. Today, he didn't do very well. I don't know if you ever had like a strain on your off leg, not your leg that you step into. How do you get over those things if you have a little muscle tightness in your leg?
Yeah, anytime you have a tweak to lower extremity, as you know, even at the quarterback position, you need to utilize that to push off, meaning that it has to be strengthened. It has to be at full go. I know I've had tweaks in the past where I just couldn't do the necessary things from pushing into my target location, stepping and throwing, whether it's my right leg or my left leg. My right leg is stepping, pushing off. My left leg is pulling me through. So hopefully the tweak is a minor thing for him, something that he can get over quickly. But it will be interesting to see how it affects him moving forward. We already have seen where he's not the mobile guy that he used to be, trying to play maybe smarter within the pocket, get the ball out of his hands quicker. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that's going to be a key thing to the Redskins, which leads me to Lorenzo. I want to ask you about their backup quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. Do you think he has what it takes to step in for Alex Smith, knowing what the defense is doing, playing with the inspiration that they're playing, winning 4 straight now? Right. Can he step in and lead this team to continue to go on and be this NFC East championship team?
I definitely think he can. I mean, I think when you look at his career so far, obviously he's had a lot of adversity and actually, obviously got benched and has been through some things. But during that time, he didn't sulk. He wasn't, all to himself and separating himself. And I've actually been watching him on the sidelines through the last 7-8 weeks. He's been really engaged, talking to Alex on the sidelines. You hear about him in meetings, doing different things, staying longer, trying to make sure that the coaches can trust him and gain that. And so he's been preparing. He's been working while he's waiting. And good for him. It's not all on him as he's put back into this team now, because the defense is playing well. And we even saw tonight him play within himself. He didn't go out there and try to make all these crazy throws and run around and try to show guys that, hey, I was a first-round pick for a reason. He's put his guys in a great situation. As long as he does that and continues to work on improving, who knows how long Alex is out, and go out there and manage games and put guys in the right position, I think he can lead this football team. He has a great character, great head on his shoulder, and he was a #1 draft pick for a reason. Dante, I would like to ask you this, though. Watching this defense, and you've played for some real good defenses, do you think this Washington's defense is good enough to take them, to get them in the playoffs and maybe win a first-round game or so?
I think that they might be good enough mainly because of their front four. Those guys created havoc today, and Chase Young showed that he was a difference maker. He looked like the #2 pick in the draft today. With the effort, I think he might have got his hands on 6 or 7 different balls today. The secondary is playing phenomenal. I thought that the 49ers should have taken more shots down the football field today, but these guys sat on a lot of things. They knew what was coming, and they really affected Nick Mullins. There were some guys out there open, but he just didn't get comfortable at any time throughout this game. So I would say yes. I think that they can get pressure with the front four. They can make plays in the secondary. And once you get into the tournament, anything can happen.
And that effort was led by Chase Young today, the rookie. Jordan, how many Chase Young jerseys are we seeing around D.C. these days?
Not enough. We need more of them, that's for sure. But hang on, listen, we need to address something real quick, Laura. I know we didn't get to collaborate on social media, and I'm sure you're happy about that. But I have to know, is Jeff the one that's going to do the push-ups after this L, or is Dante picking up the slack for him?
See, I think Jeff's suit might, we might have to have a tailor come in if he does any push-ups. So I think Dante's on push-up duty today. I can't do the push-ups. I got 1. That's all I can do. All right, so great having you.
How many push-ups are we talking about?
How many push-ups? How many push-ups are we talking about? Jeff likes a challenge.
49. Let's do it.
Oh, 49.
Okay.
Are you out on that, Jeff? We'll hold that.
We can do it during the break.
In the break. Yeah, he'll send the push-ups in the mail. I think that's great. All right, Jordan, Brian, Lorenzo, our friends at NBC Sports Washington, thanks so much for joining us. We got to step aside for a quick break here on 49ers Postgame Live as the 49ers look ahead to their Week 15 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys after falling to the Washington football team here in Week 14.
Can't get enough of the Washington football team. Don't miss Washington Football Rewind versus the 49ers Tuesday night at 6 p.m. right after Washington football today with Julie Donaldson. Rewatch the game with Brian Mitchell, JP Finley, and myself only on NBC Sports Washington Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Now, before we put a bow on our post-game coverage, let's hand out some game balls here, you guys. Who did enough to earn yours, Lorenzo?
I mean, I think the easy choice is Chase Young, but I'm going to rock with somebody that goes unnoticed. No, I'm going to go with Jonathan Allen. It got to be somebody on the defensive line, though. He does so much in that middle of that defense as far as pushing that pocket, allowing Chase Young to be dominant on the outside. So I'm going to go. I know with Chase Young, he should be NFC Player of the Week, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Allen because I know he's going to get that award. So we shouldn't get 2 game balls, so Allen gets mine.
That's a great choice. JP, what about you?
I'll keep it on the D-line and go with Deron Payne. I think all those guys had a monster game. All of them deserve credit. Listen, Chase Young gets my MVP vote, so I'll give out game balls to other folks. And the real question here is if B-Mitch is coming to my porch for the podcast.
No, I'm going home and eat tonight.
So that's always the question.
I'm going home and eat tonight, but I'll say this. I would give it to Jack Del Rio. Because I listened to those guys talk after the game, both Chase and also Cameron Curl. And they talked about the position that they were in. And you watch so many guys make plays today because they were in the right position. This game plan seemed to be on point. So Jack Del Rio gets my game ball.
Trevor?
I'll go with safety Cameron Curl because he is the young guy that we didn't expect to do so well. He studied, he knew what happened, he knew what to expect, and that's why he got that pick 6. It's a microcosm of why this defense is so good.
4 for 4 on the defense with our game balls. What an amazing win for Washington. For our incredible lineup of analysts, everyone behind the scenes here at NBC Sports Washington, we thank you for joining us for your post-game coverage. We will see you next Sunday, 10 a.m. with your coffee for your pregame coverage as Washington takes on Seattle. Have a great week.